Hey Yarmo, good afternoon. Thanks for doing this. Just wanted to kind of review that trade with you a little bit. Um, given up two guys like Korpisalo and Gavrikov, not easy. Just if you could comment maybe on why you felt you had to make those deals.
Well, both of them are pending unrestricted free agents, and where we are in our process and in the season right now, we felt that it was a necessary move for our future.
With Gavrikov in particular, it seems like there was just maybe a gap there that was too wide or whatever as far as contractual stuff. Um, at the same time, he's a 27-year-old guy that you guys found, you drafted him, you developed him. How tough is that to make that call to not maybe try and make that work from a monetary standpoint?
Well, we tried for months, and it wasn't a gap really. It was more about the term, and we couldn't agree on it, so we had to make this decision.
When it kind of building off that he's out, like I said, he's 27 years old, and you have a lot of young defensemen on this in this organization. Does that make, like, with him going now to another organization? Does that make the need? How pressing does it make the need to add a veteran defenseman, maybe for next season to replace him?
Yeah, we're going to look at all the options to make our team better. I like some of the growth that we've seen in our club and play recently, and some of those guys are young and just getting their feet wet in the league and getting some valuable experience under their belt, and now they're starting to show it on the ice. But like I've said, we're always looking for ways to improve our team, and when we go into free agency July 1st, there'll be some good options, and that's what Gavrikov expressed to us, that he wants to test the market on July 1. So we'll see what happens then.
Next, we'll go to Stephen Wino. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thanks, Todd. Hey, Yarmo. You just mentioned doing anything to kind of help your team get better. Can you see yourself with some of the assets you have making a couple more moves between now and Friday, even with kind of an eye on the future next year?
We keep working at it, and definitely with the picks that we have now as assets, we were looking to make our team better, not just be picking year after year. Obviously, our first pick is not going to be in play, but the pick that we acquired and some of the future picks that we have plenty of now will be in play to try to improve our team next year, but not just next year, into the future, into the same window where we see our young group developing into a playoff team and a playoff and cup contender.
Obviously, you guys got Jonathan Quick in the trade. Kind of what do you see happening with Jonathan between now and Friday?
Well, we've been communicating with him and his agent. We have the utmost respect for him and his career and his accomplishments. So we're going to try to do the right thing, and we'll stay in touch with him, and we still got plenty of time here, and we'll see what happens.
Next, we'll go to Clay Hall. Go ahead, Clay.
Hi, Yarbo. The ebb and flow of goalie play is sometimes hard to figure or get a read on. Was it tough to give up Corpy, who's come back pretty strong from the injury and has had his own moment in the sun here this year?
He's a very good goaltender and even a better human being. Great teammate. We're all gonna miss him. I'm really happy that he bounced back the way he did this year. We wanted to give him that opportunity as he played through his injuries last couple of years, got his hip operated on, and was finally healthy and playing great. So I couldn't be happier for him and his family. Great guy. Wish him all the best, and he deserves everything that all the praise that he's getting this year and into the future, or whatever his future may look like.
How did he handle the news from you?
He's a class act. He's always been and always will be, and we had a great conversation this morning. And I think that the situation that he is in, he's going to welcome the change where he can play for a playoff team and hopefully go far.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Tom Galiti. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey Yarmo, you said you were communicating with Jonathan's agent and such. You don't play again, I don't think, until after the deadline. Is he going to stay put in LA for now, or is he coming to Columbus and seeing what happens?
Well, like I said, we're communicating with him, and as things develop here, then we'll stay in communication, and come that time on Friday, whether he is a Blue Jacket or not, we'll make that decision.
And just in general, looking at you're obviously a lot of things happen beyond your control with injuries and stuff like that. Is there a way for you to maybe pull a positive out of this year with some of the things that you've been doing to at least make sure that next year is not the same thing?
Yeah, I think we've talked about our injuries enough. That's a fact, and it's unfortunate those things happen, and every team has them, and it's given a lot of opportunities to some guys that have not seen play in the NHL. We've had several of those guys get their feet wet in the league this year, and some of them have grabbed the opportunity and grown with it and shown us that they can maybe be full-time players in the NHL, and some of the guys that we didn't really see maybe being in the NHL at this stage of their career are getting those opportunities because of the injuries that we've had, and maybe they're fast forwarding their development a little bit because of the opportunities. So I think overall it's going to be a great growth process for us, and we have some real exciting young parts moving forward here, and they're doing a lot of good things in the National Hockey League, and especially lately, our play on the ice has improved a lot, and part of it is because the guys are getting that experience under their belt.
Thank you.
Next we'll go to Kobe Mayer. Go ahead, Kobe.
Thanks, Todd. Good afternoon, Jarmo. Thanks for doing this. Not a question about the trade deadline per se, but now with obviously where the team is in the NHL and the standings, and looking at where Cleveland is there any thought of moving some of the rookies on the Jackets down to Cleveland ahead of the playoff run, or has that not been decided yet?
We've talked about a lot of different things and what's best for the individuals, what's best for the Blue Jackets and the Monsters. Obviously, we want the Monsters to make the playoffs, and they certainly would have if we hadn't taken half of their team onto the ice with us. And it's been a quite an interesting process for Chris Clark and the team in Cleveland, because they were doing so well before we started having our injuries and took half of their lineup, like I said. So, we still need 20 guys on the ice for the Blue Jackets every game, and that's the tough part of it. But we're certainly looking at all the different options and what's best for the individuals and for both teams.
Thank you.
Next we'll go back to Stephen Wino. Go ahead, Stephen.
Hey, Yarmo, just in general, kind of what's the chatter like around the league right now, and kind of what do you make of some of these really big kind of high picks getting traded around the NHL going into the deadline?
It's a busy time, and everybody's trying to figure out the present and the future. And some teams obviously are in the playoffs, and they're thinking about the now much more than the teams that are on the outside looking in, and they're thinking about the future more than anything. So. But there's been a lot of phone calls, not a lot of sleep, and a lot of activity the last few days, and I expect that to continue until Friday, 3 p.m.
Next we'll go to Greg Wyshynski, ESPN. Go ahead, Wish.
Thanks a lot. Hey, Yarmo. I wanted to get your opinion on what we've seen in the Eastern Conference heading up to the deadline. I don't think that we've ever seen this amount of action and big names being moved to contending teams from someone that's been in the game for a long time. I was curious for your perspective on what we've seen in the East.
I like the approach. That's the kind of approach I would have too if we had a team in the playoff picture right now, and a team that we think that has a legitimate chance of going far and contending for the cup. I'd be all in. We've done it before in 2019, and we're going to do it again once we get there. And you do everything you can in the year where you feel like you have a chance to win the cup. And that's what we're all here for.
Next we'll go back to Brian Hedger. Go ahead, Hedge.
Hey, Jarmo. I know recently, I think there's been some talk maybe that the league is going to start looking at some of those LTIR situations when trading guys and trying to go over the cap with relief and stuff. I'm wondering in particular with Nyquist, I guess. I mean, obviously he's out for the regular season. Did that affect his trade market at all in your thinking? Were you looking at him as a potential, having value in that way?
Yeah, it changed it a bit because now you have to be able to activate him before the regular season's over. So the teams that maybe within the old rules were thinking about putting him in LTIR and then not activating him until the playoffs were out. So that narrowed the market quite a bit. But we did the best we could, and there's also a great individual, Gustav Nyquist, who we have very much respect for what he did for us, and so we wanted to do the right thing by him too, by giving him a chance to play for a playoff team and a strong team that can win the cup.
And then I just wanted to kind of circle back to yesterday, just in general from a big picture standpoint. Did yesterday and all the trading flurry that was going on throughout the whole league, did that catch you by surprise that it was 3 days before the deadline? It seems like deals are getting done earlier, but it seemed like that was kind of crazy all day long.
Well, we've been kind of thinking that way all along, that we don't want to scramble right at the deadline. We did that last year. I think we completed a trade with Carolina 30 seconds before the deadline, and we were all sweating bullets in the office to whether we're going to get it done or not, and we didn't want to go through the same experience again. So get them done before, and then you don't have to scramble.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go back to Clay Hall. Go ahead, Clay.
Jarmo, I realize first things first, and that's the trade deadline, but how much buzz are you hearing from your fans about the draft and Connor Bedard and the fact that you might be in that running?
I guess there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of buzz about it, and there's still the lottery process, and see where we end up in that. Where we know where we are right now, and if the season ended now, but it could look a whole lot different 20 games from now. So we're scouting the top prospects. I've been doing them myself a lot. Our scouting staff's every game watching those top guys to make sure that they're in the right order, and there's some special players available, whether we end up drafting number 1 or number 2 or 3 or whatever it may be. We're going to get a special player this year. It's a strong draft, and it's going to be great for our future.
Thanks.
And the time for a couple more. Go back to Greg Wyshynski. Go ahead, Wish.
Apologize, I had my question answered just now.
No problem. And back to Tom Galiti. Go ahead, Tom.
I'm sorry, my question was answered also. Sorry.
Okay, well, going once, going twice. Any more questions for Jarmo? Nope, I guess not. Thanks, Jarmo. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on.